So once you have your pattern all printed out, then what you want to do is pin it down. Make sure you can see everything. Yep. So you want to pin it down. And remember, you need to cut 2 pieces for the bag. And it's better cutting them on the fold. Unless you want something different with different colors. So just going to pin this down. And get that all squared away. And then we're just going to cut all the way around. So you can have a really nice bag. And I love this fabric. This is like really, really, really pretty. I don't know the name of this fabric, but it's pretty. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. Yeah, so we're just going to cut around the curve. Straight off there. Okay, so now we're going to, here, we take the pins out, set that aside, and now you're going to open it up and see that you have 2 pieces that are identical to each other. And this is a type of fabric that you can see the difference between either side. Now with this bag, it's not going to be reversible, and we're going to put a lining on it, so this will be fine. Okay, so now in order to do your pleats, if you see where your fabric, it was folded, and that was probably on the fold. What you want to do is just fold your fabric over in half like that. And you can do one of 2 things. You can put a pen right about in that seam. Or you could, of course, do this with an iron, and that'll make it a whole lot easier. Then bring the other side in as well. And just make sure you're lined up to the center. Because to make the little pleats in this bag, you want to be neat. And it took me a bit to kind of figure this part out. So and now you know where you want to go. So I'm just going to pinch from here and pull it over to that center seam. And if you didn't quite catch that part on the video, just stop, pause, rewind, play the video back. Then we're going to do the other side. Just pinch there and bring that right over to the middle seam as well. Take that pin out and just put that right there. Okay? So now we're almost there. So we're just going to make sure this kind of lines up in the middle, nice and even. Okay? So then, because you want another pleat, you're just going to fold, pinch and fold kind of at the halfway point. Right about there. So, you know it's about there, so you just want to pinch and fold till you get to about the halfway point. There. That's all there is to it. Now, you could get one of those pleater tools that I think is like useful. And then you'll know where your pleats are. Something that's super important is you need to make sure, because of the way this pattern is, if you're using my pattern, if you're doing your own, then it will be different, a different length. But you want to make sure the length between your, the total length of your pleats now is approximately 10 inches. This one came up a little bit short. So what I know I need to do is to go back and work on my pleats. But let me show you one that I did the right way and took my time doing. And actually this one I did with the iron. I ironed it so it would work out perfectly. And you'll see this one is exactly 10.5 inches. That's a better length for this pattern. Like I said, if when you do your pleats, if you come up short, then just take them out and start over, and it'll be fine. So just take that out. But remember, when doing your pleats, for this purse pattern, you want to make sure that it's about 10 and a half inches. No less than 10 inches. If it's at 9 or 8, it'll work. It'll be fine. But your inside bag opening will be a little small. And I'll show you what I mean by that in the next video. So, that's all for how you do the pleats. So, here's how I do my pleats. And I'll just take this apart. Now, I use the iron, and I ironed my pleats because I know exactly where I wanted them to go. You really want your top edge to be at least 10 inches to make this particular size purse. Now this is a little more, it's like 10 and a half or 10 and a quarter, and that's fine. So one of the first things you want to do is you want to, here, I'll take this side apart. So you can see it on one side and then see how I do it on the other. So what I did was I measured, about 2.5 inches in. That way, and then another little more than 2.5 inches in that way. So, and you could actually kind of find that center point by just folding it in and then folding it back in on itself. But if you want to be exact, then this is what you do. So, like I said, this was already ironed, so it makes it a little bit easier to kind of follow along. So then I folded that in, and I pinned it down. Okay, so then I measured my other point to 2.5 inches. Well, actually, I did a little bit more on this one. And then I just folded it in. But I didn't fold it in all the way to that seam. I folded it in about halfway. So that now gives me just about 2 inches between the seams. So I'm going to pin that down. And now you don't have to do anything else to this side. Once again, it's still okay. Even though this is about 3.5 inches from the edge, it'll be fine. These are pleats. And there's a couple of different ways people do pleats. It's just up to you depending on how you want your final product, your bag, to look. I like this because when the bottom of the bag is going to be stitched together, you're going to have like this nice, cool, cute little opening. And that's fine. So that's all there is to it, to the pleats. Now, what you want to do is stitch right across there about, maybe about a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch from the top. So let's go do that. So your next step is going to be, you want to do what is essentially the band that's going to be around the top of your purse. And this one I've already attached, but let me show you how I did it. Now remember, the width up here is like 10.5 inches, and that's fine. So I just want to make sure my top edge is the same width, or definitely long enough to be the same width. Clearly it's come up a little bit shorter than it should be. So, and I'm measuring against my pleats, so how I pleated the bag, because I want it to line up evenly. So I'm just going to cut off a little bit right there. Okay. And it's only because you have these pleats that it's a little bit challenging. So now you'll see that that matches up perfectly. What you want to do is sew the two right sides together. Let me show you that in a different one, because I don't want to take those pins out. So what I've done is I sewed this top band to the pleats. So you can see now the band, I did one stitch first for the pleats to keep them in shape. Then I did another stitch when I attached the top band. Then I folded it over and folded it like that. Because this bag is going to have a lining, so you're not going to see all this on the inside anyway. So that's how you attach your band, so you have a nice smooth finish on this edge. Because remember, you have your pleats let's say you had already stitched there, and let me push those down. So you want to pin your two right sides together, and then you're going to do another stitch straight across. Then when you do that, you would just literally fold it back. So that's going to give you a nice edge right there. Then when all that is good, then you're going to do the same thing. You want to attach these two. Let me show you that.